All right, let's jump into this deep dive and get you ready to dominate that occupational health and safety inspector interview. We got some killer resources from RoleCatcher to help us out today. Their
Hmm.
career guide, the interview guide, which is just loaded with sample questions. And we'll even get into how their AI can give you a real advantage. You ready to nail this thing?
Oh, absolutely. This is exciting because you're not just prepping for any interview, you're aiming to become like a guardian of workplace safety. The interviewer is looking for someone who is not just passionate and knowledgeable, but also someone who can translate that knowledge into like real world action.
Okay, that's a great point. So before we get to the actual interview questions, let's step into the interviewer's shoes for a second. Imagine you're the one doing the hiring. What's going through your mind? What qualities are you looking for in a candidate?
Well, first and foremost, passion, right? This isn't just a job, it's a commitment to protecting people. They want to see that spark in your eyes,
Hmm.
that genuine desire to make workplaces safer. And of course, passion needs to be backed by knowledge. Do you have a solid understanding of those safety regulations, the best practices? Are you up to date on the latest industry trends?
So passion, knowledge, but it's not just about what you know, right? It's about what you can do with that knowledge.
You got it. They want to see you as a problem solver. Can you identify hazards? Can you assess risks or recommend solutions? And they're also looking for someone who can communicate really clearly and persuasively, both with workers and with management. You're that bridge between the people who create the rules and the people who have to follow them.
I like that, the bridge. Okay, I'm feeling more confident already. So are you ready to tackle some of these common interview questions? I'm really excited to see what RoleCatcher has in store for us.
Let's do it. Hit me with the first one.
All right, question number one. What inspired you to pursue a career in occupational health and safety? Now, we've touched on passion already, but how do we really nail this answer?
This is your chance to tell your story. Don't just give a generic answer like, oh, I like helping people. Dig a little deeper. Was there a specific event that maybe sparked your interest? Did you witness an accident that could have been prevented? Or maybe you were inspired by somebody who works in the field. The key is to be genuine. Show the interviewer why this matters to you personally.
Yeah, I love that. And the RoleCatcher interview guide suggests sharing a specific story. So instead of saying, I've always been interested in safety, I could say something like, I remember visiting my father's construction site as a kid and seeing all the safety measures in place. It really made me realize how important this is to protect workers from harm. Something like that.
That's a fantastic example. It's personal, it's relatable, and it shows that your interest in safety isn't just theoretical, it's rooted in a real-world experience. And be ready for some follow-up questions, too. They might ask, what steps have you taken to actually learn more about this field? Or what are some of the biggest challenges you see facing the industry today?
Ooh, yeah, that's a good point about the follow-up questions. Like they're peeling back the layers to see how deep your passion really goes.
Yeah.
All right, bring on question number two.
Let's hear.
Okay, here it is. What are the most common hazards you have encountered in your previous work experience? Now, this one seems pretty straightforward, but I bet there's a way to make our answers stand out right.
Oh, absolutely. This isn't just a memory test. It's an opportunity to demonstrate your knowledge, your analytical skills.
Oh,
Don't just list off hazards. Show that you understand the context. Were you working on a construction site, maybe dealing with fall risks? Were you in a factory with loud noises, air quality concerns? Or a hospital with biological hazards? Paint a picture for the interviewer.
yeah, make it come alive. And RoleCatcher really emphasizes using specific examples. So instead of saying, I've encountered a lot of slip and trip hazards, I could say, while working at a manufacturing plant, I noticed that spilled oil was often not cleaned up promptly, which led to several near-miss incidents. Would that be a good approach?
Perfect. Specific examples make your answer so much more impactful. And even more importantly, talk about how you addressed those hazards. Did you report them? Did you implement safety training? Did you work with management to improve procedures? This shows you're not just aware of hazards, you're actively involved in mitigating them.
Okay, so it's about taking initiative, having that proactive approach to safety. Got it. What's next?
Question number 3. How do you stay up to date with changes in occupational health and safety regulations? This is where you demonstrate your commitment to continuous learning.
Okay, this is where I'd probably freeze up in an interview and just say, I Google stuff. But I know there's got to be a better way to answer this.
Definitely. You want to show that you're actively engaged in expanding your knowledge. Mention specific resources you use. professional journals, industry websites, government publications. Have you attended any webinars or conferences? Have you taken any online courses?
Yeah, and the RoleCatcher Career Guide mentions certifications like Certified Safety Professional, CSP, or Certified Industrial Hygienist, CIH. Those seem really important. What exactly are those?
Those certifications demonstrate a deep understanding of safety principles and best practices. They're highly respected in the industry, and they can definitely give you a leg up in your career. The CSP focuses on managing workplace safety programs, while the CIH specializes in recognizing, evaluating, and controlling those workplace health hazards. Even if you don't have them yet, you can mention that you're planning to pursue them. It shows you're serious about professional development.
So instead of saying, I read articles online, I could say something like, I subscribe to the Journal of Occupational and Environmental Hygiene, and I regularly attend webinars hosted by the National Safety Council. I'm also planning to pursue my CSP certification next year. Does that paint a better picture?
Absolutely. It shows you're not just passively absorbing information, you're actively seeking out opportunities to grow and develop that expertise.
I love it. Okay, I'm feeling more and more prepared with each question we tackle. What's next on our list?
Let's move on to a scenario-based question. Question number 4. How do you approach investigating workplace accidents or incidents? Now, this is where you showcase your analytical skills and your ability to think clearly under pressure.
Okay, this one sounds like it could be a bit tricky. What's the best way to approach a question like this?
Think of it like a detective solving a case. Walk the interviewer through your process, step by step. How would you secure the scene? Who would you interview? What documents would you review? Would you take photos, videos of the scene? Collect any physical evidence. The key is to show that you have a systematic approach, not just some knee-jerk reaction.
So I shouldn't just say, I'd talk to witnesses and figure out what happened.
Not exactly. You really need to demonstrate that you understand the importance of a thorough and methodical investigation. Mention specific techniques, like root cause analysis, or using a fishbone diagram, which helps visually map out the potential causes of an incident. These tools help identify not just the immediate cause, but also the underlying factors that contributed to the accident.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. It's about going beyond the surface and really getting to the root of the problem.
Yeah.
Now, what if during the investigation you discover that management was cutting corners on safety? That seems like a really tricky situation to navigate.
That's an excellent point, and it leads us perfectly to question number 5. Can you describe a time when you had to deal with resistance to implementing safety measures? This question is all about how you handle conflict and how you influence others.
Ooh, this is a good one. Bet you have some stories.
Well, let's just say it's not always easy to get everyone on board with safety protocols. Sometimes you encounter pushback from supervisors who are more focused on productivity than safety, or, from workers who just see safety measures as inconvenient or unnecessary.
Yeah, I can see that happening. So how do we answer this question effectively? What does the interviewer really want to hear?
They want to see that you can navigate these challenging situations with diplomacy and professionalism. Choose a specific situation where you faced resistance and describe how you successfully overcame it. Focus on the solution, not the problem. Did you use data to back up your recommendations? Did you find a creative way to address their concerns? Did you collaborate with others to find a win-win solution?
Yeah, that's great advice. And the RoleCatcher Interview Guide stresses the importance of highlighting your communication and problem-solving skills. So instead of saying, my boss didn't want to implement a new safety procedure because it would slow down production, I could say, I presented my supervisor with a cost-benefit analysis showing that the long-term benefits of the new safety procedure, such as, reduced accidents and increased worker morale, would outweigh the short-term costs.
Much stronger approach. It shows you're not just advocating for safety, you're thinking strategically and using data to support your recommendations. Remember, you're not there to point fingers or place blame. You're there to find solutions that ensure everyone's safety.
Right. Collaborating, problem solving. All right, I'm starting to feel like a pro at this. What other challenging questions are lurking in that RoleCatcher interview guide?
Let's tackle question number 6. How do you prioritize competing demands in your role as an occupational health and safety inspector? This role involves juggling a lot of tasks. Inspections, investigations, reports, meetings. You need to show you can handle it all without dropping the ball.
Oh man, just hearing that list makes me feel stressed. So how do we convince the interviewer that we're up to the challenge?
This question is all about those time management and organizational skills. Do you use a to-do list? Maybe a prioritization matrix? Do you break down large tasks into smaller, more manageable steps? Can you delegate effectively while still maintaining oversight?
And the RoleCatcher Interview Guide emphasizes the importance of understanding the urgency and importance of each task.
Yeah.
So I should be prepared to explain how I determine which tasks need to be addressed immediately and which ones can maybe be scheduled for later.
Exactly. And don't forget to mention your ability to adapt to changing priorities. In this role, you'll often need to shift gears quickly. Adjust your plans based on new information or emerging situations. They're looking for someone who's flexible and can stay calm under pressure.
Okay, taking notes. Flexibility, adaptability, key. What's next?
Let's move on to question number 7. Can you describe your experience with conducting safety audits and inspections? Now, this is your chance to really shine. Show off your practical experience. Think back to your previous roles. What types of audits have you conducted? What industries have you worked in? What tools and techniques did you use?
And the RoleCatcher Guide says to be detailed. So instead of saying, I've done a lot of safety audits, I could say, in my previous role as a safety coordinator at a manufacturing facility, I conducted monthly audits of the production line using a checklist to assess compliance with OSHA regulations. I also conducted instant investigations using a root cause analysis approach.
Is that the level of detail they're looking for?
That's excellent. You're providing those specific examples that really demonstrate your experience and your understanding of those key concepts. And don't forget to mention the outcomes of your audits. Did you uncover any major safety violations? Did you make recommendations that led to improvements? This is how you demonstrate the impact you've had in previous roles. Oh, that's a great point. It's not just about what I did, it's about the results that I achieved. I'm starting to see how each of these questions kind of builds upon the previous one, painting a comprehensive picture of my skills and experience.
You're getting it. Now, I have a feeling they might ask a follow-up question like, what was the most challenging audit or inspection you've ever conducted? Or tell me about a time when you had to make a difficult decision regarding a safety violation. Be prepared to share stories that highlight your problem-solving skills, your judgment, your commitment to safety, even when things get tough.
Challenge accepted. What's next?
Question number 8 really gets to the heart of workplace safety. How do you ensure that employees are properly trained on safety procedures and protocols? It's not enough to just have rules. You need to make sure people understand them and follow them.
Right, because a safety manual just sitting on a shelf doesn't do anyone any good. So how do we approach this question?
Think about it from a learning and development perspective. How do you assess training needs? Do you conduct surveys or interviews to identify knowledge gaps? What methods do you use to actually deliver training? Presentations, hands-on demonstrations, online modules, maybe a combination of approaches.
And the RoleCatcher Career Guide mentions the importance of tailoring training to different roles and responsibilities. A forklift operator needs different training than an office worker, right?
Absolutely. You need to understand the specific hazards and safety procedures associated with each job. And don't forget about evaluating the effectiveness of your training. How do you know if employees have actually learned what they need to know? Do you use quizzes, observations, feedback surveys?
These are all such great points to consider when I'm putting together my answer. It's about showing that I'm not just going through the motions. I'm really invested in making sure that training is effective and engaging.
Exactly. And remember, a great trainer is also a great communicator. Can you explain those complex concepts clearly and concisely? Can you engage your audience and make them feel invested in that training? Those are valuable skills to highlight.
Okay, feeling like a safety training guru over here. Bring on the next question.
All right. Question number 9. Can you describe a time when you had to make a difficult decision regarding occupational health and safety? This one can be a bit heavy, but it's an important question that really gets to the heart of your values and your judgment.
Yeah, I can see why this one might make someone nervous. What's the best way to approach it?
Think about a time when you faced a real dilemma, a situation where there was no easy answer. Maybe you had to choose between shutting down a production line due to a safety hazard, or allowing work to continue while implementing some temporary safety measures. Or perhaps you had to confront a supervisor who was putting workers at risk. The key is to be honest and transparent about the situation, the options you considered, and the rationale behind your decision.
And the RoleCatcher Interview Guide says to clearly explain the factors that I weighed, the potential consequences, and the lessons I learned from that experience. So it's not about pretending to be perfect. It's about showing that I can make tough calls under pressure and learn from my mistakes.
Precisely. They want to see that you're not afraid to make those tough calls. that you can balance those competing priorities, and that you're always striving to do what's best for everyone involved.
Okay, we're in the home stretch. What's the final question?
The last question, number 10, is about creating a culture of safety. How do you ensure that workplace safety policies and procedures are followed consistently across all departments and locations? This one really tests your leadership and communication skills.
Wow, that's a really broad question. It seems like it could apply to so many different situations. Where do we even begin with something like that?
Think about it this way. You're not just an enforcer of rules, you're a champion of safety.
Hmm.
You need to inspire others to embrace safety as a core value, not just a set of regulations to be followed, grudgingly.
So how do we convey that in our answer?
Talk about the systems and processes you would put in place to ensure consistent compliance. Would you conduct regular inspections and audits? Implement a robust training program? Establish clear communication channels for reporting hazards and near misses?
And the RoleCatcher Career Guide mentions the importance of providing ongoing training and refreshers, not just that one-time orientation session. It also emphasizes creating a positive safety culture, where employees feel empowered to speak up about concerns without fear of retribution.
Excellent points. And don't forget about the power of recognition and reward. How do you celebrate those safe behaviors? Acknowledge those who go above and beyond to create a safe work environment. Remember, it's not about being a police officer. It's about building relationships and collaborating with everyone to achieve that common goal of a safe and healthy workplace.
I love that. This has been such a helpful deep dive into the world of occupational health and safety inspector interviews. We've covered so much ground, and I feel so much more prepared to tackle those tough questions.
You've done great. You've got a really solid foundation now. In the next part, we'll explore some of those career insights from the RoleCatcher Career Guide. We'll take a look at the evolving nature of this field, the potential for advancement, and the importance of continuous learning.
Sounds fascinating. I can't wait. Stay tuned.
Yeah.
Okay, so we just went deep on those interview questions, but now I want to shift gears a bit and explore the career itself. What's it really like to be an occupational health and safety inspector?
Well, one of the most fascinating things about this career is the sheer variety. The RoleCatcher Career Guide highlights how you could be working in offices, factories, construction sites, hospitals, you name it.
Yeah, it's really cool. So imagine this. One day you're on a construction site, hard hat on, assessing fall risks. The next, you're in a lab, making sure hazardous materials are handled properly. It's definitely not your typical desk job.
Exactly. And that's what keeps things so exciting. You're constantly learning, adapting to new environments, facing new challenges. It's really perfect for someone who thrives on variety and, loves to problem solve.
I love that. And the guide even mentions using drones and sensors for inspections these days. That sounds incredibly high tech.
Oh, it is. Technology is really revolutionizing workplace safety. Drones can access those hard-to-reach areas. Sensors can monitor air quality, noise levels, all in real time. It's all about working smarter, not harder.
So forget about those outdated images of clipboards and checklists. This is a dynamic field that's embracing all the latest cutting-edge tools.
Exactly. Being tech-savvy is a huge plus for any aspiring inspector.
Now let's talk career progression for a minute. The guide suggests there's a lot of room for growth in this field, right?
Absolutely. You can start as an entry-level inspector and climb the ladder to senior roles, maybe even move into management or consulting. There are so many paths to explore.
That's exciting. And those certifications we talked about earlier, the CSP and CIH, those can really boost your career prospects, can't they?
They're like gold stars on your resume. They show that you have a deep understanding of safety principles and best practices, and that gives you real competitive edge.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've got a varied work environment, cutting-edge technology, opportunities for advancement. What else makes this career stand out?
Well, the guide emphasizes something that's really crucial here, and that's continuous learning. You see, regulations change, new hazards emerge, technology evolves. You've got to stay ahead of the curve.
So it's not like a learn it once and you're done kind of career.
Not at all. You need to be a lifelong learner, always curious, always seeking out new information, expanding your skill set.
That sounds both challenging and rewarding at the same time.
It is, and that's something you can really highlight in your interview. Show them you're passionate about learning, you're adaptable, and you're excited about that ever-changing world of occupational health and safety.
Great advice. Now, I want to talk about something that I think can give you a real advantage in your job search, and that is RoleCatcher's AI.
Ooh, yeah, this is where it gets really interesting. Imagine having a tool that analyzes job descriptions and your CV and then tells you exactly which skills to highlight to make your application shine. That's the magic of RoleCatcher's AI.
It's like having a personal career coach right in your pocket.
Exactly. And it gets even better. Their AI can actually give you feedback on your application answers, your interview responses, helping you refine your content. Make sure you're hitting all the right notes.
So it's not just about finding the right words. It's about understanding what the employer is really looking for and tailoring your message accordingly.
Exactly. And there's one more thing I want to mention. RoleCatcher's AI can analyze your video practice sessions, and it offers personalized tips on your delivery, your presentation.
Wow. So you can practice your answers, see how you come across on camera,
What?
and get feedback from an AI that's specifically designed to help you ace those interviews.
That's the power of AI. It's like having a secret weapon in your job search arsenal.
This is incredible. But does it feel, robotic? I mean, we want to be authentic in our interviews, right?
That's a great question, but think of it this way. The AI isn't writing your answers for you. It's providing insights, suggestions, helping you polish your responses and bring out your best self. You're still in control of your message, showcasing your unique personality.
So it's more like having a super smart editor who helps you refine your work and make it even better.
Precisely. It's about leveraging technology to enhance your skills, boost your chances of success.
Okay, I like that. We've covered a lot of ground today, from those interview tips to those career insights, and even the power of AI. As you prepare for your interview, remember those core qualities we talked about: passion, knowledge, action, and communication.
Yeah, weave those into your responses. Back them up with those specific examples from your experience, and don't be afraid to let your personality shine through.
And remember, RoleCatcher has those resources to support you every step of the way. Their career guide, the interview guide, and those AI tools can be invaluable assets as you prepare. Now, I want you to consider something for a moment. Are you ready to step into this dynamic role and make a real difference in the lives of workers?
What a powerful question. It's not just about landing a job. It's about embracing a calling.
Exactly.
And as you prepare, remember this. Your passion for safety is your greatest asset. Let that guide you through the interview process and beyond.
I love that. This has been an incredible deep dive. I feel so much more prepared for my interview. Thank you for sharing your expertise and insights.
It was my pleasure. And to all of our listeners out there, good luck on your journey to becoming an occupational health and safety inspector. You've got this.
So we've covered so much in this deep dive, those tough interview questions, the exciting career path ahead. We even talked about RoleCatcher's AI as a secret weapon. But before we wrap up, is there anything else, anything that goes beyond just the technical side of things?
You know, I was thinking about that. And imagine this. You're walking onto a busy construction site, right? The sounds of hammers pounding, machinery whirring, workers all around you. It's a symphony of activity, but with potential hazards kind of lurking everywhere.
Oh, I can practically feel the grit in the air, hear that clang of metal on metal. It's a high-energy environment for sure.
And right in the middle of all that controlled chaos, you're the guardian of safety. You're there to ensure that everyone, every single worker, goes home to their family safe and sound at the end of the day.
Wow. That's a powerful image and a huge responsibility.
It is, but it's also incredibly rewarding. You know, you're not just inspecting a workplace. You're safeguarding the people who work there, their families, their futures.
You're making a tangible difference in people's lives.
Exactly, and that sense of purpose, that
Yeah.
drive to make a difference, that's what you need to convey in your interview. Yes, they want to see your knowledge, your skills, but they also want to see your heart. They want to know you genuinely care about the well-being of others.
So as you're preparing for that interview, think back to that construction site, that bustling factory, that hospital with all its activity. Think about all those people whose lives you could impact.
Let that passion shine through in your answers. Let them see that commitment you have to creating a safer world, one workplace at a time.
This deep dive has been such an incredible journey. I feel so much more prepared, not just for the interview itself, but to actually embark on this meaningful career.
This is just the beginning. Keep exploring, keep learning, and keep that passion for safety burning bright.
To all our listeners out there, good luck in your journey. You've got this. And thank you for joining us on the deep dive.